Welcome back to Amsoil Speedway for our second week of racing here as we get ready for the late model heat number 1 of the prelims here. And Chad, as we see these guys go around, a lot of track maintenance already tonight. How is that going to bode later on into the night?
Well, only time will tell. They're just trying to get the track ready to put on as good of a show as possible, open up as many racing lanes as possible so we can get some really competitive racing out here. And
certainly that was the case. The first couple of prelims, Midwest Modifieds, it just seemed conservative, slower than last week, but we'll say it again, just make it to the feature is the goal here tonight, and then they can let it rip.
Then they can let it rip.
As we go down the line, before these guys get going, the first row of this one, number 28 car of Jeff Provenzino out of Hibbing. Next to him, the number 24 A car of Aaron Lillo.
In the second row, the UPI car of Terry Lillo out of Duluth, Minnesota, alongside the 44 of Daryl the Dominator Nelson.
And in the third row, number 18, Chris Olson out of Hibbing, Minnesota. Next to him, the number 16, Corey Jorgensen out of Hermantown.
In the fourth row, the 23 car of Kyle Peterlin out of Hibbing, Minnesota. Next to the T23 of John Topanzini out of Thunder Bay, Ontario.
And certainly Daryl Nelson, a fan favorite, and you got to think a track favorite too.
Oh, very much so. Last week we saw Kyle Peterlin really give him a run for his money. I'm hoping to see more of that this week. Last week Kyle had a mechanical failure and was unable to complete the task, but some really great racing last week in the late models.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun as we get ready these guys to get going. And the green flag is off the late models. Heat number 1 here at Amsoil Speedway. And you can already tell these guys on another level than the first couple of prelims, Chad.
A lot of hot cars out here, and they're trying to make their way through the pack, but it's so bumpy and ruddy through those turns. They're just kind of really have to be up on the wheel to make any progress.
And out in front, way ahead of the rest of the field, number 28, Jeff Provenzino out of Hibbing, Minnesota. And where is Daryl Nelson in the 4th spot? Look for that blue and orange car. Back a few, but you mentioned it, that third turn you can see from here, their car's kind of bumping up and down. It's certainly a rough conditions, these guys.
They're getting really bunched up in the corners, trying to jockey for a sweet line, or even for that matter, just trying to find the sweet line.
And in the 2nd spot, the UPI car, Terry Lillo behind him, and Daryl Nelson. But yeah, these guys going slower on the corners, just trying to play it safe and move up into that next position. With 5 laps to go here, still way out in front, Jeff Provenzino making it look easy and making the rest of the field just look silly. In the 2nd spot, still Lillo in the 2nd, and in the 3rd spot, Nelson, as we go with 4 laps remaining on the first heat of this late models prelim.
Yeah, Jeff Provenzino really had a good jump off that start, and when he got away from everybody and he didn't have to battle for anything in the corners, he could just choose his line. That really helped increase his lead.
Yeah, how important is that start, Chad? You kind of alluded to it.
It depends on the track conditions and who's in that starting spot, really, but you kind of want to have that open options of starting on the pole.
And certainly with the track the way it is, if you can get a good start, then you don't have to go as hard on the corners.
Exactly, nobody to fight with to find those nice lines.
And that's paying off well for Jeff Provenzino, way out in front of the rest of the field with just 2 laps to go. The 2nd spot there, Daryl Nelson, which will be just fine for him in the feature. In the 3rd spot, Aaron Lillo, the UPI car, right on his tail. Looks like the number 18 car, Kyle Peterlin. Excuse me, Chris Olson in the 4th spot there. Yeah, it looks like Olson will take the 3rd spot there from Terry Lillo. So those two battling it out as we go with just 1 lap remaining here in the first heat of the late models prelim. And there goes Jeff Provenzino take the checkered flag, and no doubt about it, he was up by at least half a lap for most of that race. The 2nd spot, Daryl Nelson. The 3rd spot, the 18 of Chris Olson, and then the UPI car of Terry Lillo. I'm sorry, not Aaron, Terry Lillo. 1, 2, 3, 4 as those guys finish up heat number 1 of the late models prelim here.
And I didn't really notice it after the super stocks immediately, but after these late models have been out on the track, and I'm not also sure if it's just because the sun is starting to go down and I'm seeing less shadows, but it does look like that lower line is starting to smooth out.
Certainly good news for the drivers and for the racetrack crew who have been out here all day, and they've been out here between even some of these prelims trying to smooth it out and get it ready for the next set of cars here.
1 more heat of late model action coming up.